So, primary sources. What are primary sources? Primary sources are your raw materials, okay? Your primary sources are going to be books, manuscripts, photographs, audio, stories recorded by audio, and really newspapers, articles. It's really anything that is tangible that can be held in your hand, or an oral story, or a sound that is recorded. Okay, so your primary sources are typically going to be found in archives. All right, so right here we're looking at pictures of primary source materials such as letters and checks and handwritten notes and newspaper articles and stuff like that, or books. So typically, anytime that you're looking for a primary source online on the internet, you're going to see an image, a digital image of a primary source, okay, such as this item here. This really would count as a secondary source of this book of poems, okay? The book of poems is actually a primary source when it's in its raw, tangible form in person. So let's talk about what archives are just for 1 second, because this is where you're going to find primary source materials, would be in an archive. An archive is a place in which public records or historical documents are preserved, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Archives contain archival materials, which are information objects that serve as evidence of past events. So that's very important to remember, that your archival materials are evidence of things that happened in history. So you have a concert ticket, you have a festival ticket, a movie ticket to show that you actually attended that particular is showing, okay? So although some institutions might have more distinct meanings for the two terms, special collections, this often at least related to, if not synonymous with, archives, okay? So you can find just about anything in an archive. This right here is the Newton Gresham Library, Sam Houston State Library. This is a place where it talks all about archives, and I will link this at the bottom of this section in the resources. And it just kind of gives you a nice overview of what archives are and how to find different parts of collections within an archives. Let's see. So let's just look at where you can find some archives. So we're going to look at some major resources. So one of the major places you want to look for collections, any type of collection, any type of digital collection, or if you get to visit, a great place to visit in Washington, D.C. would be the Library of Congress, of course, which is going to be really, really extensive in their collection for everything. It's one of the greatest libraries that you will find just about anywhere in the world, okay? So that's where you're going to just see collection upon collection of manuscripts, photos, audio recordings, music, film, video, maps, newspapers, and so on, okay? And you're also going to always have a digital version of these collections, which you'll see the more you go through a lot of the different library sites and archive sites. You'll always find a digital collections section in that website that you can click on, which is going to take you to a digitized version of these collections, okay? So Library of Congress, so that's on a federal level. Again, on a national, federal level, you have the National Archives, another amazing resource, okay? You'll always be able to find research tools and aids somewhere on the home page. It's going to tell you access to archival databases. You usually are going to see a link like that as well. And sometimes you'll need some special permission to access certain records, okay? And if you're needing to access records for educational purposes, then you can sometimes email and prove that you're a student and gain access to some of these databases that are online. And we'll talk about that more a little later on, okay? Okay, so here, like it says, free at the archives right here. Okay, so this is just telling you where online databases that you can find that are free. Here, this is giving you online research tools and aids at the National Archives. So this is just something that you can browse through. But let's see, on a state level, you'll typically have an online archive and a physical archive that you can visit, whether it's Georgia, Florida, whatever state you're in, where you can browse collections, okay? So this is showing you all of the institutions within the state of California, all of the libraries that houses archives. So there's a list there. Here you can browse all of the collections, okay? Or you can type in the search, because if you have a research question, you're going to know exactly what it is that you're looking for, and you'll use the search engine in order to find some sources for whatever research that you're doing, to back up whatever research it is that you're writing about or presenting, okay? So this is on a state level. This is just one example, that's California. And then on a university level, which we have countless universities, just even in the United States alone, but your campus and university libraries and archives are amazing resources. And typically that's where you're going to end up doing most of your research, I believe, when it's time to start finding resources. You'll typically end up on university archives and university library websites, because they have such large collections of materials, okay? So here you can see all of these different repositories here that they have listed on their site, okay? And again, you can always use the search engine for whatever subject it is that you're looking to find information on, okay? And then we come back to here. So yes, so just remember that your primary sources are going to be your raw materials. Those are going to be the things that you own, or that are passed down through your family, where there's a story attached to it, and where it's serving as some kind of evidence of an event or something along those lines, okay? And then we'll talk about secondary sources more in detail next.